So now we're at the next stage. We're about to do the stretch and fold. I just wanted to mention, oh, and it's 9:55, almost 10 o'clock in the evening now. So we did the shaggy loaf. We finished it at about 8:40-ish. So I've waited a little more than an hour, hour 10. Just wanted to say, when you're done with your starter, if you're not planning on using it and you fed it, you saw how much I fed it earlier, you're going to want, I guess the first thing would be, when you first fed it, you just want to cover it. You don't want to tighten it while it was sitting there rising. You don't want to tighten it, you just want to set it on top. But now that we're done, there's still plenty of food for the organisms, whatnot, to in the starter to break down. So now you do want to tighten the lid. You put it back in your fridge. If it develops kind of a dark fluid on the top, when you take it back out, you can just drain that off or skim the top layer off. That's okay. It just means it's hungry. But if you accidentally leave it out, you'll get a pink-ish shine on top, and that's not good. You probably shouldn't continue to use it at that point. You can salvage it, maybe. It's just a little bit risky. So anyway, just want to talk about the starter a little bit. So we had these two loaves that we're working on. So there's our shaggy loaf, just been sitting here. You don't need to do a whole lot in this step. Like I told you, it's pretty wet. You can see how wet it is. And then I just scrape it off the bottom into my hand. It's pretty wet. You can see how it's sticking to my hand, and that's fine. But for the stretch and fold, what I do, I stretch it, fold it, kind of work it off, stretch it, fold it, turn it, stretch it, fold it, turn it, stretch it, fold it, turn it. And I do this about a half dozen times. And then what I like to do, okay, so I've done the stretch and fold, but I kind of do another stretch. I kind of want to form a ball. So I push the dough in, and I continue to rotate it and push in. And I'm kind of making a cavity, you can see on the back. I'm pushing it in until it's kind of like I'm making a bowl in a way. So I made the bowl. Now I gather it up, and what I like to do, and you'll see me do this in the next round too, I kind of just pinch it closed while it's forming a ball. I just kind of rotate it, and then I plop it in. You can see that. For this one, I'm not going to wash my hands off. You can see how dirty they are. You could just wash them off. I'm not going to wash them off this time because it's the same flavor. Sometimes if you're mixing flavors, you might want to wash your hands off before you start your next loaf. But I'm just going to go ahead and do this one now real quick. Stretch fold. This one's really sticky. Stretch fold. You just kind of have to work it off. Stretch fold. Turn. Stretch fold. Turn. Stretch fold. Turn. You're just trying to, and sometimes I kind of shake it out to get it. You don't really want to break a hole. That's not good. I shouldn't have done that. It's recoverable, but you're not trying to break through. You're just trying to stretch it out. So if you do that, you don't want to break a hole through. You want to keep a solid mass. So now I'm going to do what I did before, where I kind of rotate it, stretch it. This is really sticky. Particularly sticky. But it'll be cool for you guys to see what it looks like after this sits again. So now try to get it into a ball. Alright. My hands are really dirty. And then you just cover it back up again. And there it is. We wait another hour. It is now 11 o'clock, and just a reminder, obviously you wash your hands after you're done, stretch and fold, but definitely wash them beforehand. This is actually my favorite step. So I said it's 11 o'clock. We did the last one at 9:45, so it's been a little over an hour 15. This is my favorite step because the feeling of the dough at this stage is great. It's not so sticky. You see it's a little sticky, but it pulls away. And it actually is kind of fun to play with, like just the feeling of it at this stage. You'll see it's firm, well, not really firm, but just stays together better, stronger. You're really building that. So you'll see I'm doing the stretch. A lot more work now though. Fold and turn. I don't have to do it quite so many times. Look at that. You can see you don't want it to break apart like that. So now I'm doing making that bowl like I said before, where I'm tucking it in on the back side. I don't want it to break. You see it, you saw it kind of break there a second ago. We don't really want that. So I'm gonna have to kind of work this back together. We don't want it to tear. So we don't want it to tear. It's a little stickier than I thought it was going to be. Huh. Well, I'm improvising to keep it together. You want it to be, at this stage, you want it to be pretty tight. I mean, you don't want tears all over the place. I'm just rolling it into a ball. And then we'll rest until morning when we do the next step. There's still quite a bit of my fingers. That's okay. I'll do the next one now. These doughs are quite sticky. Kind of unusual how sticky it is. Alright, and those will just sit until morning now. That was the second stretch and fold. I'm considering doing a third one because they were so sticky. And maybe I'll wait a little longer before, stay up a little late. Normally I only do 2, but look how sticky that is. Huh. So in that case, you don't always get that, but sometimes I add in, when I was making the original dough, I had flour and I did 200 grams of one of the fresh milled, 320 of the all-purpose. Sometimes I just do 150 of the fresh milled, and then I do 350 of the all-purpose, and then I add in this gluten. It boosts the gluten in a little bit and the activity, but I'm baking these breads for trying to keep the gluten as low as possible, so I'm not adding that in anymore. That may have something to do with why it's so sticky, but anyway, I'm going to do a third stretch and fold probably and see if I can get it so it's not quite so sticky. But that's the second stretch and fold. Well, it's 11:40. We're going to give it one more shot. It may just be a wetter dough. Let's see. It looks still pretty wet, so maybe I won't be too aggressive with it. Do my folding and turning, and I'll just form it into a ball. It actually does feel better now, so maybe that's good to do. There you go, that's what it should look like when you leave it for the night. There we go, that's more like it. I was too rough with it before. Yeah, remember, you don't want to tear it now. You just want to get it nice and round. There we go. That looks a lot better. Okay, leave it until the morning.